Boomer Esiason uh, has something to say about the Jock Tax. If y'all haven't heard of it,
Yeah, I heard about that.
let's see what he got to say.
Yeah. The winning team, each player gets $178,000. In other words, the Super Bowl isn't a part of their salary. And because the game was played in California, and California has a jock tax, and they look at duty days. So each team spends 7 days in the state of California. So those are 7 duty days, and they pierce your regular salary at 3.5%. So he has to pay when you take in account he got the 178,000 plus his overall salary, he has to pay the state of California for spending 7 days there $249,000. That's just so stupid. Yeah,
It really
but
is.
it ends up costing him $71,000 to go play in California. Now, if I'm the NFLPA, now you got to remember, it's probably even more than that because since he's in Seattle, he's playing against San Francisco 49ers. That's another day he's there. And he's playing against the LA Rams. That's another day he's there. So he's probably had like 9 or 10 duty days, maybe even more than that in the state of California. So if I'm the NFLPA, I'm like,
Mm.
hey, we're not playing any more Super Bowls in in California. We're just not doing it. For winning the Super Bowl, uh,
So there we go.
man, that's crazy work. You definitely got kicked in the job right there. That's what I'm thinking about.
Man, punted.
Hunted
Right.
in the job. Right.
Bro. So I know a lot of y'all out there probably saying like, he's rich, he could pay for this, you know, and shout out to y'all. Actually, I want to say this. Shout out to everyone who, you know, watched and commented and liked the other video that we talked about the California tax drive. We had a lot of people commenting about that. Man, shout out to y'all. We had some good conversations in those comments. And this is just an addition. Our state, California, is taxing jocks or athletes to pay. And guess what? It's not just athletes. It's not just athletes, staff, etc. There's other positions that this tax also affects, but it's not just athletes. And so you might say like, "Oh, they're rich; they could pay it." But the problem with this is that when the Super Bowl comes here, when the NBA All Star Game, well, let me just not just say here, when the Super Bowl goes to a state or city, um, any athletic event is in a city. What it does is people fly in, they stay at hotels, uh, people um, patronize restaurants in the area, people rent cars, people do all these things. It helps the economy. And so for a state like California or any other state that charges tax, it's a additional price that's paid to these players. And Boomer kind of alluded to like the NFL Players Association. If I was them, I would say let's not play another Super Bowl in that state. And so what that does is um, that extra funds or extra money that's recycled in the economy in our state, in our city, then that goes away. If you look at other states that are moved or other thing, forgive me, I lost my train of thought. But for those other like teams that are moving out of their city, that's a lot of jobs and things like that lost. And it may not necessarily be for tax purposes, but it's an issue uh, because people lose jobs at hotels. Businesses in the area suffer, all these different things happen. I think Chicago is one of the most recent ones who are moving out. And but it's ridiculous to charge uh, the players a 13, I think it's like 13.5% tax on top of, what they already have to pay. So every state they go to is different. But California is like the most egregious. California is the one with the highest tax. Like I think it's either California or New York. And what I heard, and actually I was supposed to look this up. Where did that jock tax come from? I thought I heard it happened in the '90s. Um, what California? Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, somebody said. Let me see. How did it
Okay.
start? Oh no, let me see. Okay, history. While jock taxes date to the 1960s, states started aggressively taxing the income of non-resident athletes in '91. Yeah, so I was right. When California imposed a tax on the earnings of the Chicago Bulls players who traveled to Los Angeles to play the Lakers in the NBA Finals. And so it was when that happened, it was basically, we're gonna get back at you because you charged us when we was out here. And then it became a thing. So then everybody started doing it. I don't think it makes sense, because they're already bringing bringing about money into that economy. So why are you charging a tax, on these players for like a few days and being here? You
Because
know,
they want some of that money. That's why.
I know.
Just like anything else, just like, with the whole thing with the weed places opening up, they didn't allow it to happen until they was figuring out how they were going to be able to tax it.
I can monetize. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're not going to come here and, take money from our citizens or get money out of our jurisdictions without us getting a cut. That's just like the thugs in the street say, hey, you come to LA or you come to this city, you got to check in,
right.
or you got to pay a tax to move around in that city. The same thing.
Well, I think it wasn't a thing until it was made a thing, and that's something that we talked about last week. Also, is that California is like a test bed. New York is like a test bed. When they start doing it in one of those places, a lot of times it spreads. And so this was one of those things that because they wanted their piece of the pie, other states started to adopt it. So, but go ahead, cuz
Yeah, I think it's whack, unfortunately, and it's not just, them, it's entertainers, like, people who tour, professionals, you got traveling nurses, so when they travel to certain states, you get taxed based on the state that you work in. So that's why a lot of times people won't come do business here because yeah, it's too expensive. It's not worth my time to come there and put all the hours and the energy, and then you suck, maybe a half or a third of that away. So um, yeah, they definitely need to look into that and do something about that because once you start to cut off certain states in terms of, yeah, we're not going to do business with you guys because you guys have a job tax. That's why. And they can consider that, oh, well, that's discrimination, you know. Well, no, that's just my preference because I don't want to pay the tax that you're offering. It's not discrimination. I just don't want to pay the tax that you're asking my players to pay or you're asking these teams to play. I'm looking out for their well being and their families. They have to pay tax anyway based on the state that they live in. So why should they have to pay you a tax because they came here to play a game that they didn't ask to play in terms of the state? These things are set up for them to play in. So players should have a say so in those types of things. I'm pretty sure they talk about that at the meetings. Hopefully, how they get that ironed out because also players they're starting to travel out of state and out of the country to play in other countries too. So I'm thinking like, okay, what's that looking like? In terms of the
I don't like
breakdown.
to pay a tax like that though, because I think it's just a US thing. We could figure it out though.
Yeah, you're probably right. But the exchange rate and all that stuff too, if I'm playing here, if I'm earning money while I'm here in this currency, then how does that, translate back to US currency?
sometimes it's more or less. If I go here, the money's not as worth as much as it is in another space or another place, if that makes sense. So if I exchange it back to, my currency, then, I'm not going to get as much as I thought I was getting, you know, or it could be vice versa. It's just a thought I had. I could be wrong, which I like to be most of the time because that's how I learn. So, but anyway, yeah, man, and shout out to those guys, and them being able to do something, that Russell Wilson was able to do once. So hopefully, you know, moving forward, they'll start to shed more of a light on this because they've had problems with salary issues for a long time. Jock tax is just one of the things that they're bringing to light just recently, but it's just kind of like you're not being paid your full salary or your full contract if you get hurt. Everybody's saying you should have more of like a baseball, type salary to where if I play or I don't play, I'm still getting my salary, So that's another topic or another story. But I don't know if it's California and someplace else. Is it just California? I heard you say Chicago.
What they have the jock tax?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's every state
Oh, it's every state now? Okay.
other than like I don't think the state it's like the states that have state income tax. I don't think that they have to pay that, but like for California, state income tax is like 13.5% or something like that.
Mhm.
Uh, let me see. Let's see. So yeah, so it's like the Floridas, the Washingtons, Tennessee, Texas,
Texas? Yeah.
Nevada.
Okay.
They don't have to pay a jock tax in, but the other states they do. And I mean, in some states, I mean, even though you still have to pay one that's lower, it's like maybe like 5% or something like that. Um, but California, 13.5%. It's crazy.
And the Super Bowl is at SoFi next year. So get ready
Yeah,
for that again. Yep.
that'll jock it up.
Jock it up.
You know, young, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Think over you paying. Hey, that's crazy, man. That's crooked.
Man, that's crazy. I was thinking about, oh yeah, I won the Super Bowl. You what? I lost. Yeah, you lost. Lost
Yeah.
some money.
Or you gotta you gotta pay 50,000. Why I gotta pay 50,000? Oh, because the job tax, they charge you 180,000
Right.
and you only made 165, I mean 150 or
Right.
130,
Yeah.
so you owe 50,000.
By the time you pay your taxes, pay everybody out, you looking at it like, man,
Man, hey man, like
right. Yeah.
like, oh man, hey, well, where is it at?
Right. We
That's
going to
wild.
party after this now? I'm going home. I can't afford the party. I didn't have to
Right.
pay all this money out. It's crazy.
And that's another thing too, is like people look at their money, like I think Odell Beckham was on a podcast talking about like what he made and how he's short. I mean, yeah, you should manage your money. Coming from not being educated on on money, and you come into money like you don't know what to do. I want this, I
Yeah.
want that.
Right.
I didn't have this, I want to have that. But then
Right.
when you think about all the things like this is a additional thing, this job tax. You think about all the things considered your agent, you
Mhm.
gotta pay taxes in all these states that you played in.
Mhm.
You gotta, then this person want money, that person want money. Like when you look at it, then hey, you making $80,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Like you barely got enough to make it. You got cars,
Yeah.
you got all this jewelry. Like, hey, that money go fast. That money goes fast.